Hello Aries, great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Aries. Let's go into your reading here. One of the main themes that I am seeing here is I feel like a lot of you are coming into this month with a lot of decisive energy when it comes to your home environment. And I'm also feeling that you're taking, well, you've always been like a no nonsense type of sign, but I feel like specifically in your relationship sector, you are being a lot clearer and a lot more assertive about what you demand from a relationship partner, as well as what you can or cannot put up with in a relationship situation. Okay, the relationships also extend across, all relationships, not just romance. I'm feeling that many of you, if you have held your tongue in the past, if someone is doing something and you have just been very supportive, you might have been emotionally supportive for them, even though you disagree with the things that they were doing. I felt like you were still, supportive. You didn't enable them, but I feel like, you still were there to provide a shoulder for them to lean on, to provide like, an ear for them to talk to, for them to vent a piece of your mind. You're going to be a lot more assertive about where you draw boundaries and what you will or will not put up with in your friendships, in your family environment, and also in your romantic relationships, which is a really good thing. And this is like the type of decisive energy that I really want to see for you. As the first sign of the zodiac, I feel like it is really important for you to, if you've been holding your tongue especially, I feel that you are going to be a lot more vocal and verbal about what you believe in, okay? Doing so in a little bit more of a diplomatic manner, of course, is always going to be good, but I feel like you're going to be doing it diplomatically, and you're going to be assessing situations in a very logical, rational way to make sure you have all the facts before you state your position. So it's a really good methodical, type of an energy coming through where you will state your opinions, but you're doing it with, by being able to back up what you claim with logic and facts. Okay, so you're going to be quite well received, actually. The major thing that I'm seeing here, first of all, we have here the Page of Swords, and this is the energy that you were embodying throughout the previous few months. So you're coming into this month with this energy. And going back to what I mentioned before about, having to hold our tongue. I feel like you were put in situations where somebody around you was doing something that you just don't agree with, okay? And they might be a father figure. They might be like a person in a position of authority. And you did not agree with this person. You did not agree with their conduct. You did not agree that they acted in the best manner or in the most honorable way that they're capable of. And so I feel like you might have held your tongue. For whatever reason, you felt like, oh, it wasn't your place, or you felt as if they're going to continue doing whatever they do. And so me telling them how to live their life is not going to be appropriate. And for some of you, I feel like it might be a relationship partner. For others, I feel that it's work related. Okay, authority figure, supervisor, even a coworker. So you held your tongue and you got through it. And it might have happened for the past few months. And I feel that there is going to be an opportunity for you here to speak your mind. Okay, there is going to be an opportunity coming through for you to have a say in how things are being done, as well as for you to tell them what they've been doing wrong, giving them advice, giving them counsel. Even though I just want you to remember to be very diplomatic, because I feel like their energy is a little bit abrasive. Okay, so they're a little bit difficult to deal with. They're very, very fixed in their ways. They're very just, I want to say like tunnel vision, dogmatic as well. And so they're not in a position to listen to reason. And they're not in a position to, I feel like they're so deeply entrenched in their point of view that they might not be receptive to the information that you give them. They know you're right though. They do trust you, because I have a lot of things here that indicates you're on your right path. You're speaking your truth, and you are letting people know where you stand. And so you're drawing your mark in the sand. They're doing the same thing. And so what it's telling me here is that you're going to have to, realize that sometimes you can't persuade people, even with reason, even with logic. There's still there's a very big stubborn energy, and I feel that, as Aries are known for being very, very stubborn, but I feel like you're encountering somebody that is very, very stubborn in their approach. And so it could potentially, be this big ideological clash. You're trying to avoid that. And I feel like you're being really smart about trying to avoid that, because I feel like the other person is in a position of authority. Okay. For some of you, I feel like it might be happening in your career sector. So you might be encountering somebody who's a little bit difficult, a little bit bullish, and just very fixed in their ways, even though there are things that they're doing that are clearly not right. So, that are not smart, not right, or not the best approach to take. And so you're going to have to, pick your battles. This is a card about regrets, falling out, and, falling outs between people. Too many words, have been, it's like too many things have been said to the point where we can't really backtrack. So you're going to have to agree to disagree. You're going to have to pick your battles, and you're going to have to be a little bit more methodical about how to proceed in the future, even though the other person refuses to listen. Okay, so I do feel there is a little bit of regrets and disappointment coming through in the career sector for some of you. In the work environment, however, and there's a major juxtaposition here. In the work environment, you're in a work situation that is very, very stable. There is also opportunities for you to climb the corporate ladder. There's also opportunities for income increases, pay raises, promotions as well. So you're in a very, very good position right now financially. There's also if you're working with a company, it seems to me like it's a very established company. If you're working with public or private sector, it just seems as if the work situation itself is very, very stable. Okay, it's like really just there's opportunities for growth, there's opportunities for branching out, and there's a lot of opportunities for promotion. And likewise, in your money house, we also have here a lot of contracts being signed, a lot of I'm seeing like publicity stints, which is opportunities to be in the public eye, to give a lot of talks, to travel and give seminars, host focus groups. So I feel like there are a lot of people who are either headhunting you or who are soliciting you for different job positions. So I feel like this looks very good, okay? However, in your 10th house, it just seems almost as if you're doing a major reassessment. You're thinking further along the line, on the one hand, this job is really stable and my income is increasing every year. I'm getting, adequate compensation for the work that I'm doing. And I can, really relax and have a big retirement, like a pension saved up when I retire. So I feel like you're doing it because of job security. On the other hand, ideologically and also emotionally, I feel like you might not be 100% invested in the career track that you're in. So there's a little bit of inner conflict playing out in your life right now in the direction of your career. Okay. And I'm also feeling that for some of you, there's going to be news about your father, possibly health issues. Okay. And I mentioned this with Capricorn as well. So you might be getting some news from your father figure, especially as it relates to something that he's coping with. Okay. It could be health issues, or it just could be like a decision, something that he's made, a major decision in his own life. It could be pertaining to his career, where he's going to unload some information on you, and then you're going to have to, decide. Do you want me to help you by offering advice, or do you just want to vent? So I feel like that's coming through for some of you, dealing with a father figure, okay? For others of you, I'm sensing as if your career track as well, there's a lot of parallels that I'm seeing here. where I'm feeling like let's just say this. If you were, headed in a profession, right? So for example, if your father is a judge, let's just say if your father's a judge or your father's a teacher, I feel like he guided you to get to the position that you're in right now, which is very similar to where he's at, okay? Or the type of job that he's doing. So if he's a judge, you might have been a lawyer. If he's a professor, you might be a teacher, something like that, where you feel almost as if you feel like you're kind of like a rung behind him, and you feel like you're living under his, like in his shadows. And I feel that you might have thought that was the right career track for you. And I feel some of you are doing major reassessment, figuring out if this really indeed is something that you want, or were you just following in somebody else's footsteps, okay, to get to that career track. Because from the outside looking in, you thought the life was really glamorous. And so coming through for this month, you might realize that I'm not really emotionally happy. And so I was, doing this for somebody else, or following in somebody else's footsteps, or doing something that was just automatically expected from me. So I feel like you might be in a career track, and it's showing me signs of strains where you feel like you're not emotionally satisfied anymore, okay? And a lot of the times with the Five of Cups, this is a card about sadness and regrets. So feeling as if you might have been passed over for a promotion, for example, even though there's still going to be other opportunities coming through. So don't dwell on it too long, okay? There will still be other opportunities for promotion, for growth. If you didn't get that promotion, you have an opportunity for something else to open up, and then you can apply for that, okay? So don't fret over it too much, Aries. It's a little bit of a setback, but I feel that it's going to be okay, all right? And then I feel for others of you too. We have some really good cluster of cards all in the lower quadrant. And I feel like this is something that is a little bit more internal. Internally, your housing situation looks very stable. You might be sharing space here, a living situation with another person. And I do feel everything is very even, okay? So it's like fair. It's based on reciprocity. It's based on very concise and good communication if you are sharing space with another person. So I feel like, other areas of your life is flowing very, very harmoniously. And the lower quadrants usually deals more with, internal things. The upper quadrants usually deals with more public image, career, success, where we stand in the world. And those are areas of contention. So I feel like there is a huge internal conflict playing out, okay? And then for others of you, I'm sensing almost as if, this big job here, it allows you to have a very luxurious lifestyle. It allows you to pay the bills. It allows you to stabilize other areas of your life. But in the long run, you might be thinking about switching careers, okay? And I feel like it's not going to be coming through for this year. I'm sensing it might be next year that you're going to make a move in that direction. So this year, things are going well right now. Your house environment is stable. And the money that you're making from this job, it's allowing you to have a specific lifestyle. And I feel like, the period for change might be coming through for many of you for next year instead, okay? In terms of your fifth house, this is kind of like dating, socializing as well, okay? What I'm sensing is some of you might have a child, right? It relates here to children. You might have a child that is having difficulties in finding a direction, finding a career, finding work, or even finding where they belong in life. So you might have to push the child extra hard. You might have to, in the past, you might have really pushed this child and saw no movement or lack of movement in the right direction. And I feel like one of the advice they're giving here is that I feel that, you have provided everything for the child, like toys, opportunities for extracurricular activities, and you took really good care of the child. And I feel like he or she felt like there wasn't any urgency to move his or her life along. Does that make sense? So one of the ways in which you can approach this, if you're dealing with a child that is a little bit more complacent, you are, the fire sign. You're just very ambitious and naturally very goal oriented and very results oriented. But I feel that your child needs a little bit more nudging rather than pushing. And in the past, I feel like you might have been pushing them and doing things for them to get things started, to get things rolling. And because you took initiative, they always sat back. So it's really important for you to sit back and let them take over to make, positive changes in their own lives. Okay. So I feel like they're saying a child that is very, very privileged. Everything was handed to him or her on a silver platter. And so he or she doesn't feel the need to really do anything, to really, step up. Okay. So take a step back. And I feel that would give them the opportunity to step up in a way where you feel like where it would make you proud. Okay. So that's what I'm sensing for a few of you. And then for others of you, there's going to be a lot of serious discussions. We're talking like serious life planning discussions with a mother figure. So your mother might come to you and she might be like, oh, can you help me open up, like a savings account? And that's like very minor, right? And then others, can you help me look at this investment opportunity to see if it's a good idea? Can you help me with some financial planning? Can you help me do my taxes, for example? So I'm seeing some serious discussions when it relates to finances between you and a mother figure. For those of you whose mothers are still around, I'm seeing a lot of communication coming through in the housing sector with you, siblings, mothers, even fathers. And there's some serious, long-term planning that they might need you to help them with, okay? So be prepared for that. Set aside adequate time because I feel like they want to run something by you. They trust your expertise, they trust your advice, and they trust your knowledge. If in the past they're doing something that you don't approve of and you feel like, oh, that's not a good thing to do, and you have held your tongue for whatever reason because you didn't want to, get involved, I feel like it would be a really good idea for you to really tell them how you feel. Tell them, in a very diplomatic and respectful way that, you know what, there's a smarter way for you to do this, or that might not be what you want to do right now because, the economy is just not stable enough for that. So I feel like you want to be very truthful because they're coming to you because they, recognize that you have some knowledge in this area. All right. The other thing I'm sensing here is, first of all, let's talk about I believe Pisces also got the same cards. And I did shuffle the cards, okay? I shuffle like very thoroughly off screen and I shuffle out the cards before recording. But I did shuffle and Pisces got the same card here. Many of you might be involved with the Pisces, so that's just something to keep in mind because we have here the devil. And the devil indicates some type of financial linkages that you have with another person that is very difficult to break, okay? It could deal with like children. It could deal with like some type of joint responsibilities that you share together. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of discussions here as it relates to joint finances. A lot of you might be in a business partnership as well with another person. And I feel like you're waiting on a decision from them to make up their mind so that you can, so that you know how to proceed. So for example, you might be in charge of the accounting and you're waiting on them to give you the go-ahead before you release the funds. And you're waiting on them to, deposit the money before you can write out checks, for example. And if you are romantically linked up with another person that you are financially joint in with for, in terms of bank accounts, in terms of savings, or in terms of just financially linked up with them, you're waiting for some decision from them in order for you to write checks or to release the funds. So there's heavy energies for, dependencies in a partnership. However, it seems to me like it's stable. It seems to me like it's very stable. So there needs to be a lot more management when it comes to, who's doing what in the relationship, business or romance, whether or not the relationship is balanced, whether or not the relationship is fair. I'm also sensing a lot of you are in a relationship that might not be entirely balanced, okay? It's almost like an on again, off again type of relationship. And it's hard for you both to work together as a unit. There might be incompatibilities, or one person is doing a lot of the work to move the relationship along, and the other person, for whatever reason, is is not as emotionally or physically invested, okay? So in your relationship sector, we have here the Two of Wands. This is not always a bad card, but I think about this as like long distance relationship, as one person doing all the work and the other person is not around, okay? For whatever reason, it could be because they are not as emotionally invested, or it could just be a long distance relationship where physically they're not there. So this card indicates to me that you're waiting on decisions for another person in order to move the relationship forward. You're waiting on the decision from another person in order to figure out, what do we do? Do we get engaged? Do we get married? Do we have children? Where do we move to? So there's heavy energies here of making decisions as a unit. And I feel like as, the most independent sign of the zodiac, as like the starter of the zodiac, you are also somebody who's very, very impatient. So I feel that many of you must really, really love this person to, put your life on hold, to do these things, to accommodate the other partner. So I do feel that whether or not the relationship is balanced, I'm going to look into your love sector in a little bit, but I feel there's a sense of restlessness about you, about, having to wait and having to put things on hold as a result of another person. You could be just physically waiting for the other person to sort out areas in their lives so that you both can come back together as a unit, or you could be waiting for them to land that job, land that perfect career. So there's something here about waiting on the decisions or on some things to pan out for a relationship partner. The last thing that I want to leave you with here, we do have the Hangman in the reverse position. So this is a card about no longer feeling stuck, getting ourselves out of a situation where we feel like it was not healthy, it was not comfortable, and it was just very, very emotionally taxing on you because you don't like to wait. And I feel that coming through in your 12th house, what it's telling you here is that if you've been holding your tongue, don't do it. It's time to really get your words out there. Give yourself a voice, okay? If you've been waiting on some type of a career track to clear up for you, there's going to be a clearing of energies, and you're leaving some work behind in order to pursue new work, okay? So I do see your career track. There are always trade-offs in life. So I feel like a new career track, possibly two, opening up for you, and you're going to have to leave the previous work situation behind in order to move on ahead. And so I feel that this is the month in which there's a lot of things happening very, very, very quickly for you. And overall, it looks to me to be really good. And I feel like what you say for this month, how you project yourself in your public image, in the public arena, is going to be very, very under a lot of scrutiny, or it's going to be very important, okay? So aim for the truth, aim to be very direct and frank with your words, and aim to also pick your battles. If you're facing an opposition that will not, relent, that if you're dealing with someone who's quite dogmatic or just difficult to deal with, pick your battles, okay? You might not be able to win all those battles, but at least, conduct yourself in a very diplomatic manner, okay? So I'm going to go into your reading for love, romance, and relationship here, Aries. So this falls in your 7th house, which deals with relationship. And with the Two of Wands, it's basically long distance, okay? So is the main message I'm seeing. Let me see what else is coming through. Single looking. And I feel that options are opening up for you in terms of dating, having fun, having, new suitors coming into the mix. But I feel some of you who are single are still hung up on somebody from the past, okay? And then I feel like for others of you, there's that same energy who are in a relationship waiting on the trajectory of, career or even location of your current relationship partner so that you can figure out, okay, how do we move forward as a unit? So let me see here. I'm seeing a lot of singles showing up here in this spread. Yeah, I'm getting like a water sign here, so a lot of the cards are repeats from the Pisces reading. So I feel like a lot of you might be involved with a Pisces or have been involved with a Pisces. But overall, water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, generally. Okay, so I'm going to pull out, oh, there's one more here. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of singles here, which is a good thing. I feel like for those of you who are single, let's talk about the singles first. And I'm going to talk about the singles and then, the coupled people. Singles, you have an earth sign coming through. And this is a Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn, okay? This is somebody that is extremely honest. They might be a little bit slow, and the chemistry, the romance, I feel like it's there. It's just going to take a little bit longer to develop. And I know you like things fast, but I feel like this can work out really well if you are patient and give this person the opportunity to court you. Okay, so we have here the Four of Cups, which basically means for those who are single, you've got people in your periphery who are showing interest in you. But I feel that majority of you are still hung up on somebody from the past. And I feel the majority of you are still communicating with them or even looking at pictures, looking at social media, checking them out to make sure whether or not they're single and things like that. So I feel like you're not over it, okay? You might try to go through the motions of socially dating, and you have quite a few people interested in you. Even if you're not dating, I feel like people in your work environment, people in your friendship circle who are interested in you. So you're making quite an impact, actually, but I feel that you're still thinking about the person from the past. And so you have another person that's coming through that reminds you of that person, which is here. We have Earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. And this is actually a very good relationship partner. But like I said, the chemistry takes a little bit longer to develop. And so I feel like this is the one that's going to really spark some interest in you, and you're going to want to date them because I'm sensing for some of you, they remind you of somebody from your past. So there's this instant sense of recognition or familiarity. Be careful about dating the same people. Okay, just be careful about that. Go into it with a clean slate. Go into new relationships without emotional baggage from the past. Okay, and I'm feeling that this is somebody that is very, very slow to make a commitment, to give you, like a yes or no. So it might take, like 3 days of like continuously texting each other or following up with each other for them to finally, solidify some plans to meet up in person. So I feel like there are some challenges. They might not move in the manner that is fast enough for you. Okay, but give it some time, chemistry, and I feel like this person is very sensual. So chemistry and excitement and that physical connection can be made in the future. Just give it a little bit more time. It's going to be a lot slower than you would like, but because it's slow, I feel like it might be good for you. All right. Let me talk about the past. We have here the Five of Coins in the reverse. as well as the Ace of Coins. So, coins, which is the beginning of a new relationship. It has all the ingredients for stability. Okay, it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be you need to patiently take care and nurture this relationship in order for it to grow. So I feel that you have a new person in your life, and you are overcoming, the insecurities, overcoming that sense of like self-doubt, low self-esteem even, because there is a new love here that has the potential to grow. I feel for some of you, you were in a very, very tumultuous relationship with somebody from the past where there was just a lot of bickering. There was a lot of intensity. It made it exciting, but you both were so incompatible that there was a lot of bickering. And I feel almost as if you felt like they didn't love you because they kept arguing with you. You felt like, if you love me, just agree with me and seek harmony and stop fighting me. So I feel like it really affected your self-esteem, because it felt like from your end, it feels almost as if they chose to argue with me. They chose to fight me. And you were taking it very, very personally. Okay. And I feel like that wasn't the case. It's just there was a lot of incompatibilities, and you couldn't see eye to eye. You couldn't agree on the same topic, and the other person might have just been arguing for the truth. And vice versa, the other person felt very attacked as well, when you were probably just arguing for the truth. So I feel like there's just not enough compatibility overall to sustain that relationship. And I feel a lot of you might have been involved here with a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. And with them showing up in the reverse position, fire and water, it's opposite elements. I feel like there was just a lot of ideological differences. And it made the relationship very difficult to maintain and to move forward, okay? So I'm getting this message, and obviously it's not going to apply to all, but I feel like you might have been involved with a person, right? A person from the past, and there might have been some juggling going on, which is, one person stepping out of a relationship, and there might have been a water sign involved. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, it could be they were stepping out on the relationship with a water sign, or the water sign was the partner stepping out on the relationship. But I feel like there was a lot of conflict in that relationship, and I feel that if you're still in it, that needs to end for good, because it's not going in a good trajectory. Okay, we have here the Two of Wands, which basically means one person doing all the work and the other person is just like out of the picture. And I feel here Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles indicates like a juggling act that has gone awry. Okay, it's not sustainable. The person cannot juggle anymore. So I feel like you might have been kind of like a third party, or there was a third party interfering in the relationship, and it broke down. This is not a good relationship, okay? If you're involved with that water sign, it's a very tumultuous relationship, and it's not good for your self-esteem, because I feel like you were doubting. Like, it really hurts you finding out about these things, but also, the conflict, the constant bickering in the relationship. It hurts your self-esteem, and it really hurts your ability to feel loved and appreciated in the relationship. So I feel like somebody was taking you for granted, and it's shown up in the past, which is good. So I feel like you're moving on from it, okay? In the present situation, what we have here is the Two of Cups and the Eight of Coins. Both of these things indicates to me lack of compatibility once again, okay? Being with somebody who might be very, very just invested in their jobs, or being with somebody as well, you might care about them a great deal. And I feel like, the Two of Cups signifies a very strong soul connection, but the other person might not have a clear sense or a clear objective as to how they want to move the relationship along. And I'm seeing like lack of consensus here. With this Two of Cups in the reverse, it basically means, one person wants children, the other person does not. One person wants marriage, the other person does not. So I'm feeling there is a lack of compatibility, but also lack of direction as to where this relationship is headed.